Hello, and welcome to this webinar on EV adoption and when is the right time to ask. As a quick introduction, my name is Rich Wilcox, and I am our VP of Solution Consulting and EV Specialist at Calibrate. And if you're not familiar with Calibrate, for more than 50 years, we've been helping retailers make better decisions related to optimal locations, identifying optimal locations, optimizing sites, and defining price position. Calibrate's got more than 800 clients, and our reach is global, operating in more than 85 countries. And in the last 12 months alone, we've helped retailers assess over 200,000 potential EV locations across the US and Canada, and many more internationally. So what impact is all of this having on fuel sales today? And we'll focus on the US, but we'll also talk about some other markets globally. So what we can see when we look at historic gasoline consumption is as population growth occurs, so does gasoline demand. We can see the impact of various different recessions that have occurred over time. And of course, in 2020, we can see the impact of COVID-19. And you will see that demand has bounced back somewhat, but we're not yet at pre-COVID levels. And some people say we never will. Why is that? There's a few different contributing factors. The main source is fuel economy vehicles. If you cast your eye to the center of the screen, you'll see that across pretty much every vehicle category, we're seeing more economic vehicles using less fuel, and of course that's going to reduce demand. We can see that passenger numbers haven't yet fully bounced back from pre-COVID levels. I think we're about 98% of 2019 vehicle miles driven at the moment. So of course that's also going to be a contributing factor. Well, some people argue that we're starting to see the first signs of demand destruction as a result of EV here. And I personally think we can see that in these figures. The reason is, as we move into 2022, we can see another decline in fuel demand. But at the same time, we can see a spike in energy demand from the grid. Some people argue this is down to things like Bitcoin mining, using more energy. But personally, I think this is the first indication of a drop in fuel demand and an increase in grid demand as a result of the number of EVs on the road in the US. What we're able to do is look at each fuel location, its current sales, whether they be gallons or liters per month or per year, and then use that EV evolution or EV adoption forecast over time to say, what do we expect to happen to the fuel demand at those locations? And we'd look at the best, worst, and most probable case scenario in terms of this is what we expect to happen to fuel retail over time. And that can both help retailers prepare for the future to understand which sites within their network are not going to be profitable in the long term, and allow them to make decisions now as to whether they invest in a site for the future or perhaps they just keep that site, maintain it as its current standard, continue to invest in it operationally, but don't do anything too significant in the long term because perhaps it doesn't have potential during that long-term period. We're also able to leverage this as part of our predictive modeling capability when we're projecting gallons sold or liters sold of fuel over time to be able to understand what that long-term decline in fuel sales looks like.